Fall, The Tragedy of the Fairy Queen and Her Councillors by Joseph Scott. Directed by Austin McCaslin-Doyle.
A part of the forest. Enter Orc and 3 mercenaries oppositely.
Fellows in arms, words before we free this hell Hulk's Mazard from its rotten neck.
Not I, until the king possess its head.
I'd speak and it had ears for comprehending.
They fight. The Orc quickly kills 2 of them, then seizes the 3rd.
Execute, Earlies, or brag thy feet, but do not hold me in this idle detainment.
He rips off the mercenary's ears and releases him, who flies. Another part of the forest. Enter 2 fairy clowns.
The queen is fast.
How fast is she?
As plants is soiled, or seeds encaged in fruits.
Aye, sir, this is attested, for her swiftness doth lie more in her magic than her foot.
No, I mean that she is bound.
And fast?
Fast to her bonds, rogue, get thee gone.
Enter Galespring.
Salutations, masters. Know you now that there's a child within the forest bounds?
Our lady is fast and quick.
From thy tongue.
I am come to bid you to beware the nature of the sprite, a fairy maid, a maiden fair, and for your saner judgment's sake to remember to you our regent's ancient edict. And if you shall befriend or help or share speech with such a being, or otherwise delight in her presence with proof of the fact beheld, then dear as her vital payment is in death, more costly shall be yours in life. One maimed of reputation, privilege, and enjoyment at the discretion of the woodland queen's devisement, as long as it conduces to her pleasure.
Stolen then? I thought our matron's spells made our forest home impregnable.
Quick was I in sinking the dam, when feeble dams instead do make us quick.
Her magic stopped, it seems. Even now, our infant springtime's age to sudden fall, senescent and lacking memory of a summer whose verdant bounties we were wont to have. And this our tired day, which would to bed, is sleep denied, in anxious twilight locked. I fear that these unnatural events are wrought by some otherworldly force. But come, I'd have this puzzle solved by winter.
Come? And who are you to charge us so?
The manager of your every hour of labor, one tasked for tasking, chief inspector of the cogs and gears which turn the queen's machine, and thus in perpetuity let us endure.
Allude you to our public servant, Galespring? If you be he, then wherefore not in the council?
The Mornmoots met, and I am truant, serving them better in one absence than they can serve the queen and you in 50,000 sessions.
He serves by being served. Let us go and serve his service to our sorry state.
Till danger take our breath, or woes abate.
A hall in the dwarven barracks. Enter Darestone and Malleus in debate.
Aye, but there's the point. Habituation did not inhabitable your station make. Proud was your strain before, and you their king. Take back what's yours and prove you still have sting.
Take care, Councillor, for you invoke the odious name of treason.
Care is my trade, advice the language learned me in my youth. Therefore, it is meet that I advise you thus directly to your care. The queen is charmed, and wields no longer the facility of mind, nor manual deftness to effect her power. Our margins are weak, and like to be annoyed with strange and barbarous enemies.
Spoke just. It is the cause which moves me to dispatch always some martially sure dwarven parties to conceal our naked vulnerability.
Skillful arms without the head that guides their strokes are as effective as rubbing together two wet sticks to summon fire. What? Captain Seas again, that name you lost, the dreadful Malleus. King of dwarves and mighty conqueror, I warrant you, as sure as I am Darestone called and you my friend, and those same arms who swung your potent hammer as you wilt shall find a fortified allegiance in themselves, and each command you breathe, and carry out the sentence with greater thews and sharp acuity.
The dwarven king is dead. His name is buried. The better part of him which does his deeds lives on in noble service to our queen.
To a name that you should rather loathe. The day she overthrew your rule, she put to death no fewer than 100 wives and daughters. I remember it well, and killed them by the dozens in the weeks thereafter. The same injustice did she wreak upon the Faerie province in an age long past. Noble service! Was ever a skeleton bid to carry the shovel and inter his bones by him who murdered him? When slanderers lie, do the offended speak the apology? Go to, man! 'Tis a philosophy so misconceived, so misprized, that it could not have been the thinking of a king.
Do you impeach my rule and judgment thus? If we be friends, then let me never hear another word of this unhappy suit. Now must I see my warriors armed. Adieu.
Exit Malleus.
The complexion of the sky is in dispute, not yet resolved in whether to retain its dying light or to embrace the spectrum of a blooming night. So too is then the disposition of my enterprise. Though I have made him full of satisfying reasons to enact what naturally must follow, yet he lingers in his false affection. I'll to the queen, and for a while lurk and give my medicine ample time to work.
The Mornmoot Council Chamber. Enter Thorndew, Folkswin, and Terrychill.
What? Only 3?
I knew no good.
Is so. Excused is Darestone and Norble Harpswith taken, but Galespring hath no reason of his absence.
No quorum then. Thorndew, let us forbear until another councillor add his name unto our scanted number.
Rightly urged. Terrychill and Forkswain, I call now suspicion of our moot until our voice assumed timber majority.
Enter the Fairy Queen, born by dwarves with other sundry fairy attendants.
Your councillors are so engrafted in the particles and form of your procedure that you lose the sense and meaning of it. In this assembly are the 3 of you. Another 2 are present not. The 6th, my trusted Harpsworth, master of my spice. By timeless fortune cannot come this hour, one of the motives of our meeting now, thereby reducing by 1 the greatest count achievable in the gathering of your minds. If my arithmetic be true, then present fellowship doth constitute a quorum, legitimating by the book this moot. If you remain unmoved by rationale, then let your minds be overswayed by sense. Fairy realm is all amiss, beset with dark enchantments, spells and enemies, and theft. The instrument that they all share hath in one a tonal dissonant chord robbed you of a councillor, or land, a season, or citizen's rest, and me mobility as well as magics. Magics I have used to serve the soul and noble ends of weal and benefaction to our commonwealth. Those misdeeds should bear a stench so foul the 3 of you find cause to them correct. You will meet here and now my honest hands, if not by sense or reason, then by command.
How true our wise and caring mistress speaks.
How untrue were we to agree to break. Foreman Thorndew, may it please thy quill to gin our business and exact her will.
An even better motion than thy first. Let us proceed to matters best and worse. Honey monarch, please it you to say, how did our trusty harpsmith take away?
I scarce can tell, and pleasure I have not, their memories cold and blood remaineth hot. We may the villain spectral nominate, for in the soil it did not create tracks.
An apparition, then? No corporate form?
No properties or weapons on it borne?
A staff which from its subtle crest dispense such terrible magics as I could not fence.
Like needles in a gale we lost our spears, as the same villain rent our halberdiers.
These tales do reek of wicked sorcery, if I have ever heard with perfect clarity.
But whither did the cunning captor go? Removed from the wood?
I do not know. On the path we trod there is a glade where stand two mossy columns worn and greyed of many years oblivious, tween which a blinding glow consumed the ghostly lich, then was no more.
I thought them merely stone.
Such columns are there many to us known.
Each pair an open port for renegades. We better stood against these rotten palisades.
For users of sorcery, 'tis all the same.
If sorcerer truly be the villain's name, two other matters yet are want of speech and stand beyond the bounds of logic's reach. I speak, of course, of autumn's sudden haste and weary daylight's pause in nighttime's space.
And logic's arms could compass all the land. It could not touch our wretched nation's shand.
What's this? Speakest thou of shame?
I speak of dreams, of portents, monstrous visions that our state beseem, portents too misshapen to be real, as those which threaten now our commonweal.
Visions, portents, master folks, when please it thee to give some firmer stuff, or cease this prattle.
Prattle, sir, is all we do. What quality in mine makes mine untrue or less deserving of our breath this eve, when immaterial plagues our realm deceive?
Now plagues, wilt thou curse the firmament to end our torment with thy fiery vent?
I curse at naught, but may indeed use fire, wherewith I might yield glass to show thine ire.
And thou hadst Thorndew's glasses for seeing clear. Thou couldst not part the worldly from the weird.
Nor thou to see what lies before us plain.
I will no more. He speaks with such disdain.
I speak of nothing but
Enough of this.
the possibility of
Wind and mist.
Hello, if we would hear our brother speak.
Speak, speak. We have heard him speak.
Enter Darestone.
Speak, 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 speak. By our sacred willow and her grace, and whatsoever else we may call holy, if one more time that word do come within my scope of hearing, I shall put to oath the taking of this body's life and being cast someplace remote and deaf to it. It is no marvel that the six of us could never settle matters.
Lady Darestone, thy arrival is most welcome, and behind those sylvan lips doth hide a nimble blade which can at will deliver blows of truth. Know thou and Galespring alike you are, never did care for parliamentary form, but by his mention. Any news of him?
None, my lady. I knew not he's gone. 'Tis true then that only 3 were met this evening. Ha! Half a council, half a queen.
Merry jests from our tardy councillor. Where is thy respect for our matron Fae?
My respect doth lie i' the doing, not the speaking. To suit this noble purpose, friends, I with the captain of the guard have met upon the question of our sudden frailty, and in the course of my civilian duty, did hear within the dwarven barracks talk from scouts who spied along our northern mere a watery nymph attempting passage to these elfish lands.
Oh, double-worthy Darestone, this report concurs with news received by me from Harpsworth earlier today of a female sprite who wandered into our realm. You know my law, she must not live. Therefore, I do betake myself this present action, make great of quantity or strength. Across the edge dividing Faerie and elves, that added vigilance frustrate her flight, and bring her here alive and quietly.
Your law, my fairest queen, is tempered in steel, but cure for me my feeble deficit of understanding. Are we, then, to make an ostentation of arms on elvish grass? Neighbors whom we have unsteady peace, and therefore, should this last, who doth offend your ruling so, outlive her apprehension for to answer here?
My commands to bring an untouched girl before me in my palace, safely caught, devoid of marks or any evidence or any manner of abuse or harm. This done, I shall know the purity of conscience in the subjects of my rule. If they, oh, heavens forfend, enjoy the girl, then I'll acquaint them with such engines for their torments they cannot conceive. For the elves assure you that what they want in civil courts, say they comprehend in the letter of the law, steadfast is their statutes as we in ours. Observe your oaths, and they will vex you not. This mission shall comprise a team of doughty dwarfs with their capable captains' oversights. Charichil and Tondu, you I send to find our missing Galespring, seek about the places of his costume. Ask his friend, Spokeswind, who has served our embassy within the human realm with faith and sway. Thou, my tender plum, shall thither go and thrust upon their pointless ears some talk of an errant monster lumbering through these woods, which some ruder tongues may call an orc. Fiend is of a brain that knows no fear, nor of a body knowing any foible, with impunity doth stalk about a human weaponry, excelleth ours. Armed with all we may this doe defeat, thereby extinguishing the final embers of his bellicose and graceless sword, I shall remunerate their forge with precious timber from our forest. Darestone, thou must change thy current legs for ones more fixed, and stay with me.
Liquipotent Regina, your mouth's as strong as any spell or drug, and firm as iron fetters round my shins to move these legs to stillness. Fain do I relinquish willful motion, not, dear queen, in purpose of indulgent mockery of your affliction, unless you'd have it so, to count myself in number of your many and become a friend to dwarves and your protection.
Our courses are charted then. If there be no expulsion, then do I move to close our moot.
I second.
All inclining?
I
Our moots adjourned then. Most noble sovereign, though we are wingless, fly we to our tasks. Fair weather follow you.
Exeunt Queen, Darestone, and Train.
Or someone who hath abjured speaking so, our brother had many words to speak.
Were there but one good deed for every 10 he spake, the woes within our land would be undone.
farewell.
Oh no, fairest, leave us so soon?
I hold me to thy word and fly to task.
Exit Folkswin.
Bring some guard with thee.
Have better dreams.
Sweet earth, if we can utter naught but scorn, perhaps we deserve these plagues forlorn.
The human king's court. The king is seated, alabaster and harpswift before him. Curthwin, lords and attendants about.
Our wise brother Alabaster, thy return is most welcome, and betokens great and kind fortune to the starving souls of this kingdom. It is our pleasure that thou address presently the company of the court, and make full revelation of what came of thy business in the fairy forest. Speak now.
Not but what you would, my lord.
This glads us marvelous well, but is not there more?
Only what you would add, my lord.
If we sought wit, we would have our jester speak for thee. Why so brief? And who is this sprite joined with thee?
Harpswift, good my liege.
Harpswift, we have heard of thee, and thy doggish service to the Fey Queen. Thy snakes have we discovered even in our land, slithering about to come upon some intelligence of our means and purposes. Dost come as prisoner or a friend?
He is an ally to us, your grace, converted from his former obsequious disposition to our cause.
He answers better when he is not spoke to. How comes this, Fay?
Righteous king of humankind, my answer is simple. The ruler of this land is not fit to lead, and her subjects see it not.
Art thou alone changed?
Nay, my lord, there is one certain another councillor called Darestone, who maintains an outward show of love and loyalty to the queen.
Take heed, spirit. We are not your deliverer, nor are we your cleansing flame. Our ends obey the direct benefit of man, and man first.
I will not flatter. My spies, or rather, my snakes, have informed me well of your dealings with other nations of this wide world. You are a paragon to your kith, but a wolf to all the rest. Still, not as bad as better, I suppose.
Watch thy tongue, Fay.
Good, my almighty brother, my magics have made weak the bulwarks of the fairy realm, leveled their ramparts, and put impairment on the queen.
Thou art capable and potent enough. Wherefore then hast thou aught with him or any of his fellows?
There are pairs of stone columns standing severally within the forest, which hold the power to transport supernaturally one's very corporeal essence from one to other, even on the instant. They hope me to find them and to interpret their gravings, that I might educe their magic.
Enter a messenger.
What news?
Your Excellency, there's a Fae requests audience with you.
Is it Darestone?
Nay, my lord. 'Tis the ambassador of Folkswin.
I see. Well, how say you on this arrival?
'Twere better he did not see either of us.
I did ever like the fellow, for he was always pleasant with me. A dreamer, but pleasant. I can change his bent.
We would hear what he came to say. Hide you the while, and then do as you will. Let him enter.
Messenger exits.
This likes me not. I hope you know what to do.
Alabaster and Harpswift hide. Re-enter messenger with Folkswin.
Honorable Master Folkswin, you are welcome in our court. What is your business with us?
Where was this courtesy earlier?
My humble thanks, your grace. Our business is bloody, but not with you. In our forest creeps a great monster, known by some as an orc. It is the Fairy Queen's pleasure that it die, and immediately. Our warriors are brave, but their weapons are impotent against it. Therefore, we are come to request an exchange. We would arm ourselves with the most refined and human craftsmanship if you will accept some of our rare and non-parallel timber to do with as you will.
Truly, It well appears that wherever its spirit bids it wander, wrack doth follow at its heels, sometime in our region too. Of late we sent a band of mercenaries for its head. Only one returned, maimed and bearing it not. Our mind is in unison with the Queen's. Let us end its life swiftly. Retain your timber, for we anon shall issue a host unto your woods to seek and quell the villain.
This is a speedy resolution, Your Grace. Are you so firm?
As the heavens. It is an unsightly macule on the visage of our world. And since the earth on which it treads knows no vanity wherewith to excise the blemish itself, it falls to us to do it. Go bid the general ready his men.
Messenger exits.
Good king, your haste both dazzles and affrights. We cannot host a host, not when our wood already is made slight by black magics, omens, and fear. We beseech you, reverse this command.
And we cannot countenance the prolonging of the fiend's life. Our word stands.
Then I must hie me back to my mistress and make report of this reckless action. Thank you, Your Grace.
Forbear, Folksman.
I'm swift. Oh, but thou, what? Oh, my heart.
Aye, my brother.
You are no brother of mine.
Listen me, Folksman, the Queen is a curse in our land. She must no more rule.
Treachery, calumny.
Hast seen it, aye, in thy visions, of which thou wert wont to tell me once. Thou hast seen the shame, the disgrace. Come, Folksman, thou art a good and noble fellow. Let thy pressed conscience breathe, I pray thee. Thou art not blind, nay, thou canst see better than the rest. Give me thy hand, Folksman, and I give thee warrant of welcome and safety here. Folksman, go not, I pray thee.
I am sorry, Harpswift.
He strikes Harpswift and endeavors to leave, but Alabaster halts him with his magic.
So am I too, old friend.
Confederate philosopher, is it not so?
The same, wretched sprite.
Your pernicious sorcery hath filched our fair dame's ability and hath strangled the sweet green summer from the lungs of our young soil.
Yea to the former and nay to the last. How mean you, sir?
Some guard apprehend these Fae.
Guards move to arrest Folkswin and Harpswift.
These, my lord?
Good Harpswift. To this land art come a stranger, and in this land hast rendered service well. This house shall better stand with all thy help, and for it thou dost have our deepest thanks. But to its worth and comforts art not heir. Thou hast survived thy utility. Therefore, thou must contented be to be included in our castle's dungeon, at least until thine unfit queen be dispossessed of her domain, lest we find thy taste for treachery entices thee too much for us to keep thee large. Meantime, should we desire more secrets, it would boot thee well to disclose them freely on demand of them. Folkswin, we are sorry thou hast heard too much to keep thy liberty. For on thyself do we impose a penalty of like tenor, but lo, deject you not, for if that Harpswift's aid have been as true as any he former gave the queen, then think brief shall be your inclusions be. Now, brother and daughter Curthwin, you must go with us, and with the men of war confer. If humankind and country be to thrive without our limits, then are we to strive.
The elvish fairy border. Enter Mara and Alvin, running.
Keep pace, my love. The border is in our sights.
Would that imaginary lines could halt an elvish lance. They'll sue us to the death.
Then we shall have a run through bush and bramble, through rocky passes, or by the stormy sea. I'll run with thee. If death be the promised end, let us together bear the journey to.
Oh, foul and fair conclusion. No, as thou didst rightly overrule me in the scape, I do thee in this. I have a brother whose love for me stands senior to the hate he bears for thee. We'll tell him of our plight, and if his love be true, he'll lend his roof. Nay, weep thou not. Our love will be his tutor, and he shall call thee sister. These things I know.
Enough, Alvin, please.
I know his love.
Alack, good sir, my house shall not endure.
His love is fit.
Peace, I say, peace. Unless thou wouldst the levees of my heart crumble before the waves of grief and see these eyes shed torrents.
Flow. Mine ears thine ocean.
Then it shall rise and drown 1,000 worlds. Thy brother's dead.
My brother dead. What jest is this?
Oh, prithee, never speak that word. My eyes shall never dry again. Forsooth, the flesh that was thy brother lives no more. And it was I who took from it the life.
And thou? Oh, no, this cannot be.
Alvin.
I dream. I must. For these, the things you speak, befit a mind that's slave to the whims of sleep and sensitive of strange tongues and monstrous sights therein.
Will you hear me, you poor, fantastic man? In your choler, in a neck can swallow rash opinions, you may hear this tale in full completeness. Be judge as you consider carefully. Be jury as you devise my due desert. Be executioner as your doom see done. And so, my tale. When they took you, the organ of my love commanded me that I might save you from their custody. Sometime in the woods began another suit, I, your huntsman brother, after me. He must have thought me in confederacy with them. It was the fault of prejudice. Oh, damn his hate, he thought, damn his hate. The look he gave me was his first assault. In turn, I gave him warning, mark me, I did. I loosed an arrow into his leathered breast. A nice display of force to stay him back. No more. But this morning he did not heed and chased me off the trail onto a pool that takes the shinking of a waterfall. He straight discharged his cannon lead into my thigh, whereupon he made demand of me to answer for your seizure, whilst he held his dagger by my throat. I touched his cheek, his dagger dropped, as if overwritten by some remorseful mood. But feeling fickle, such a change, and prone to reversion, oh my love, forgive me. I stuck the self-same dagger into his heart. And those remorse-cold eyes then went cold, colder than the steel that pierced his bosom. As I, a spirit of the water am, the rinsing of my wound restored to my thigh, but your brother, being human, could not receive such remedy. I lay him neath a willow tree, and like a hound that's lost the scent, I the chase. Back I did hark until I found you again, till I found again the tracks betraying the path of your abduction. My tale is told. Respond as you see fit.
My mind's not well, and cannot answer fit. Nay, touch me not. I say my mind's not well.
Need your mind be sane for my embrace?
Out, thou double-hearted fiend, be gone. Wilt thou embrace my hanging head with one hand, and with the other put a dagger in my back? No, that's not thy way. Oh no, thou wouldst rather touch me on the cheek, and put the blade directly through my heart. Aye, that is thy course, not in the back, for that's dishonest, and thou art an honest nymph. Out of my sight, I say, my mind's not well. Where thou stowedst on me the titles judge, jury, and executioner, call my sentence as it pleases thee, banishment, exile, or dissolution of the bonds of love and unity between us, but do resolve it in thy mind to know that thou art in my sight no longer welcome. Therefore away, and ever evade mine eyes.
Enter Malleus, attended by dwarves.
As you command.
Dwarves endeavor to apprehend Mara, who resists aptly for a spell, but is soon overwhelmed.
Alvin!
Mara? Oh, Mara!
He fights futilely and is swiftly knocked away.
Nay, sir, your sentence is passed. It must be firm, for she alone shall answer for her trespass against the Faerie Queen.
Amass, find friends! And if thy mind be well enough to love me, yet the sinner that I am, oh, go! Go, now, the party's almost here. Nay, fly!
Exit, Elvin.
Shall we not apprehend the men as well, good captain? Nor shall we remove ourselves before they see us?
No, we must be known, for flying now would be a show of guilt. And we shall leave this land with but one catch, that for which we came here, nothing else, lest we give them cause to war with us. And nymph, thou wouldst do well to keep thy peace. A lie or quarrel here conduces not to thy survival.
Enter 2 elf constables.
Aye, we have thee now. Prepare thy plea to speak before the queen. Ah, noble elves, how do you all this night?
Twas dwarfus quana. Hail, who asks us of this?
The captain of her beauty's dwarven guard. The queen hath sent us here to apprehend this nymph, who trespassed in her sacred wood.
Mary, as you were, we pursue a villain of our own, a half-caste man-elf. Have you seen him?
Nay, sir, truly not.
Then health to you.
Exeunt constables.
That man's of elvish blood? I sought not.
He's naught to us. No longer think on him. Success this eve is bright, our state still dim.
The edge of the forest. Enter Galespring with clowns.
As I do recollect, the summer air, the last was brief as well, but not as much so.
Many a summer's past that's passed before, its natural end of late. Oh, how thrifty last year's fortnight veil of green seems now.
And faith, as it was, never did a red and more brilliant gild a green luxuriant, so drunk with growth, when our fair matron drove from their final den the last of the warlike orcs, whilst Halbringers their nasty fights did stop.
A valiant slaughter, very noble slaughter.
Aye, but slaughter incomplete, remains one more. They say his battle axe held firm, defying all dangerous spells the queen did fling upon him, that the rest might make their doomed escape.
What happened to him that stood?
Oft a man approaches from the heath.
Enter Kurthwin.
The Fae in my father's court spake true. This wood is out of season. Where are thy buds, thy blossoms, thy fragrancies? Faulted, browned, dissipated. Thou art robbed, 'tis possible, aye, but if not by mine uncle, then by whom?
Stepping into the wood.
Oh, what's this? Some cosmic wrath, celestial fall from balance. Lived I 1,000 lifetimes, still I could not trow what I do see. Suffice it not that thou hast lost thy summer and all its boons, but now the benison of the very sun, who now doth hide in dark and spiteful glow behind thy trees. Dost thou, twilighted forest, merely obey a different time? Or art condemned indeed by him that lights thee most unfavorably?
My sire, the man doth speak with a woman's voice?
Why, 'tis the maiden fair he warned us of.
If plate mail make thee sigh, she should not be here. Our wood a place for humankind is not, and is the worser for her sex. I'll call. Hail, worthy human! I bid good day, but I cannot bid you welcome here.
A greeting strange within a land most strange. I worthy am, but yet not worth a welcome. Good day? The moment's neither day nor good.
I did not think your kind so deft of tongue, the worthier you are. But know you that you do stake your life at hazard as you stand within our forest where your haps forbid. You have my favor, but I cannot save you from the queen's inclemency.
Nor I your queen from falling. Yea, I say again, the fairy queen's in peril. Her name is pricked.
Bound and pricked, I told thee so.
This news is grave, but is it true?
If you do trust me not, then you shall prove a cipher of the worth ascribe you me, else you belie the very name of worthiness. The king, my father, I tell you, hath set his eye upon the treasures of the fairy realm, and 2 of your own breed have sworn away allegiance to your queen, and now complot with man to see her overthrown.
Name them presently.
The councillors Harpswift and Darestone.
Certain?
Aye, by my troth. Harpswift spake before my father and the court, and named the absent Darestone fellow in conspiracy.
But those who did bear witness to our Harpswift's disappearance said that he was taken by some ghost, some shadow, and did vanish into air.
He vanished, aye, but not in company of ghostly apparitions. For 'twas my father's brother, a magician, who, in false enmity, did seize your counsellor and fly from thence with him.
Methinks your uncle thieved much more than him. My mind is bent unto believing that the present plagues upon our sacred wood do owe to naught but evil sorcery. This conference must end, for Darestone doth yet tread about us and must answer to these tall and frightful accusations.
Hold you, I do observe your tone impatient grows. I swear that, though I do share blood with them, yet with the mage and king I share not purpose. Let me go with you to bear my tale myself before her grace, and prove me friend.
On peril of your life and our enjoyments, you must not.
The Councillor Galespring speaketh the truth. Our liberties contingent on unwomaned company and chaste behavior.
Gentle Fae, I am a warrior of some honor, begot of noble royalty. My titles, my vocation, and my blood should hold a greater voice than doth my sex.
Then, as becomes a noble warrior, be a man, for it becomes your likeness too. Be you a man and rein your unyoked tongue. You say your other virtues louder speak than does your womanhood? Then let them do. Whatever name you e'er were wont to use, forgot must be. Man you, and follow us.
Exit Galespring.
Come, human, the day grows younger not.
Contrary, nor does it older grow. But still dost thou come with us or no?
Hast thou forsaken Sane? Thouest her?
Certes, nay, I'm thouing him, good sir.
Exit Girthwin.
I see thy wit, but he is royalty.
Oh, no, quite well apart from that is he.
Hath not he royal blood within his veins?
The blood's not royal that its title stains. It helping us. He goes against his own, betraying traitorous Fae, betraying the crown.
Thou reasonest well.
But never, sir, be grieved.
They left.
Then let us take our leave.
The dungeon in the king's castle. Harpswift and Folksman in separate cells.
King is wise, and yet he is not. For certain he is wise, for who would trust a traitor after he hath oped his treasury of intelligence and emptied the vault? But he is unwise too, for in his imprisoning me, he fulfills his own prophecy of betrayal. Wherefore should I endure such opprobrium, such unkingly disgrace? Well, as I say here in the human realm, no good deed. No good deed. Then there's his brother. Why, that was a betrayal. Truly one apt for relation. Did you ever bear witness to such cowardice? Not a word uttered in voice of my appeal. No advocacy. Device, mind. Amends must follow for these injuries. And cease, mouth. Well, thou shalt drive me mad, losing breath upon earless subjects. Oh, alack, Folksman, if thou have any love for me left, say aught to me.
Pray you, let me waste here in peace.
Most upright brother, thou dealest with me unjustly.
You have betrayed me, our nation, and our queen. Go count acorns.
Aye, so I shall. I shall count acorns in grove, by brook, through glade, a free spirit, never under the pestilence visage of tyranny.
Enter Nathier, disguised as a castle guard.
Harpswift, I am bid bring thee to more secure detention.
Oh, what a prize am I, to have my own chamber in his grace's castle. Pray, tell me, who hath the honor of conferring on me such worth?
Your loyal spy and servant.
Nathier! Oh, oh, splendid Nathier! Never better met, friend. Then I am not yet gone deaf in this part of the world?
No, my provident master, the king hath not yet found us all.
Nay, my course he hath not. Fae among men. We can translate their cattle's milk to blood and drive their steeds into a frenzy, and they will cry, witchcraft, and burn their women alive ere that they think we live among them. The fairy folk have so long made sport of man's dull senses that I could as easily as I believe thee here, before my eyes believe that we have together rendered in pure issue.
Aye, and you would believe rightly. By our latest enumeration, some several hundred half-blood fellows walk amongst man, and then there is that extraordinary case of the man-elf.
I remember. The babe who was left with the humans some 10 in autumns ago. Did not the elves come lately to take him back?
That they did. He is of virile age now, and therefore must return again to the elves.
Is he in the Elfin City now?
He was, but a late report drove that he had made escape and flown into our forest. Why ask you this, master?
Oh, my brain works. The elves will search for him, for he is the mongrel large about the known world. They will not brook dissemination of his impure blood across our nations. Therefore, he is a huge prize. As legion on my eyes in our woodland home, let us find this pitiable man-elf ere that they do, that we may make him our commodity and compel our northerly neighbors to give us succor against these shallow men. Elfish bodies do not know weakness to magic and shall stand strong against the powers of the Archmage.
I understand you not. Is not the object of your plots the queen?
She is, or else a gnome call me. Good Nathier, my treachery and aims are double now. One sovereign have I betrayed, the other me, and so they both must fall. Create a reason for the king of field today, make assurance he will leave his castle and join the invasion of the forest. As for the queen, she yet thinks me friend, so I shall play the part, and once the invasion is quelled and her dwarves are battle-weary, cast off my mask and surprise her.
I shall see to it that the king be stayed from this place.
He unlocks Harpswift's cell.
She is my queen bee. I am her honeysuckle. She asks, I give her a knee. I make my body buckle.
Is not that Ambassador Foxwin?
So it is.
Shall I enlarge him too, master?
No, his mind is crazed. More his love for his incapable monarch is greater than he hath for his sane and noble brother. Let him waste here in peace.
Very well, master. Pray you, follow me.
And though my wings be spent, still to her do I go. And for this love I am shent, the only love I know.
A glade in the forest before two pillars. Enter the queen, borne up and trained with darestone.
My loving lady, this is not your palace.
Quiet. Impede him.
Dwarves apprehend Darestone.
But my queen, what's this? What living reason have you for this outrage?
Thus do I hold a mirror to myself. I see a sprite restrained from body's motion, whose wagging tongue doth bootless cry against injustice. So did I protest when evil magic snared me, as I saw before my eyes my dearest Fae but vanish, and my nascent forest wither all to ruin, if in my life have I done wicked deeds. The end shall show them fair, which blushing in the presence of the wholesome subsequence must needs conform to goodness, piously gilding lookers from earlier opinion. Regard your national prosperity and understand that all that I have done was for the benefit of you, my people. Oh, mirror loving, mirror loyal, mirror. What dost thou reflect? Would I could kiss the image thou returnst. For it is of thee that I see myself.
Beneficent queen, I do not see your drift.
Play not the fool with me. Thou art not dull. I have seen thee darestone traipse and gambol about these columns, closely studying their forms, as if thou wert to gain some science from them. It follows then that thou dost know their essence, their reasons, and yes, like counselor, what they do.
Mistress, these are stony pilasters erected in an age before mine own. Beyond this, though, I cannot tell you aught.
Thou liest. Thou withholdest things from me. Thou spits thy falsehood through that toothy grin. And now I find it doth offend my eyes.
Mistress?
Most impious defecant, thou shalt be constant.
Dwarves carve Darestone's mouth into a fixed smile. Darestone falls before the queen.
Oh, hush, my darling, hush now, all is well. Yes, there, hush.
Your beauty, something comes.
Enter Orc.
Arms, defend!
Dwarves and Orc fight. Dwarves fall variously. Darestone flies amid commotion. Orc charges the unguarded queen. Enter Galespring, Curthwin, and clowns running.
My queen!
Curthwin prevents Orc. They fight.
What Galespring? Oh, what bringing fortune.
Orc and Kurthwin exchange slight wounds. The latter cries out. Some dwarves recover and aid Kurthwin as the orc flies.
What untamed sight is this? Your grace, are you hurt?
Oh, past all remedy, I have received the worst of wounds.
Why then, let's get some help. Help, ho! Is there not a surgeon here?
Thy noise is bootless. No surgery can dress this wound unless it be the lopping off of my head. Oh, Galespring, I have been betrayed.
Byre Willow, I thought you bloodied to the death. What talk you of betrayal, dearest queen?
Thy council fellow, honey-tongued Darestone, hath broke his oath to land and countrymen, hath made an utter whore of Faerie, using her ungently and unfaithful, consorting with uncertain enemies, and leaving her to foreign lechery.
How know you this, my queen? Where is he?
Flown I know not where. His flight, though, speaks more truth than any word he uttered in this glade, when I did pose him query of his shafts, through which the evil spectre stole their hopsworth. His tongue, which therefore was full of chat, fell dumb. Oh, trust me, Galespring, he knows more than his mind enlarges, and therefore is a traitor.
My news is halved then, though the remaining half may well as be the whole. My beauteous dame, with heavy heart I must report to you that Harpswift, master of spies, my brother,
dead,
is traitor too.
My lady, some of us are hurt to danger. If I may freely speak, 'twere best that we repaired incontinent unto your palace.
Thou hast indeed spoke free. Go, then. Get your hence, we shall along shortly. Pray you, good warrior, attend the while.
Exeunt dwarves.
Your grace.
You boldly fought this eve, and are like to have saved my life. I see that you are hurt, I know that you are human. Worthy warrior, you need not hide your voice. Your steel betrays your kind. For an you were any else, the axe that graved you had given you graver injury.
My gracious queen, I beseech you, let us go. I see that news and chance have made you ill, and our once quiet woods no longer safe.
Well, Mary, let us forth, and on the way at hear more explication of thy news.
Forest, the base of a great waterfall. Enter Alvin.
Faith, I am weary. I run, I tire, I thirst. Most stubborn son, like whinging child at bedtime, thou dost awake remain and brace my eyelids, but lo, relief.
He drinks from the pool.
And here a willow, hanging boughs, deceive my eyes with shade until the night is come.
He goes to lie down and sees the body of his dead brother at the base of the tree.
Oh, spiteful heavens! Oh, most unwholesome sight! Now flown is sleep and restless terror here. Is any ounce of life yet in this vessel that once contained my brother? Oh, fool! No game in all the woods of the world could sate thine appetite. Didst thou intend to kill them all? If thou had not miscarried in taking Mara, couldst thou have carried thence and wrested me from the clutches of the elves? Alack, there is no boot. Sleep, my brother. Thou hast what every man at some time hunts, and hast fulfilled thy final venery.
Enter Ghost.
Sleep is a dream. Speak, and thou be real.
Alvin? Alvin, is it truly thou?
Thou hast my brother Victor's voice.
'Tis I.
Perhaps I truly am asleep, or mad.
My heart doth take its ease to see thee whole. This forest, Alvin, is not what it seems to be. It is not safe. Thou shouldst no longer stay.
I would hear more. Tell me what had happened.
Dark forces do run about this wood. Perhaps a ghost I am, whose soul, they'd say, is not resolved. Much like the twilight sky beneath whose nether born the sun hath fallen not, but rather did the orb upon it leap the very moment that my foot did cross the wood line, turning suddenly my morning suit of thy Fenimore to dusky chase.
She's Mara.
What?
I said her name is Mara.
Oh, I did forget thou art familiar with that scaly slut. Not only hast thou betted with the fish, but now the fish doth have a name.
She does.
Thy Mara marred me, Alvin, here in the chest. It was my folly to discard me so, but that is the game they play, those water nymphs, and mermaids and sirens too. And thou, I see, art under yet her charm.
No, this prejudice destroyed thee long afore my Mara did.
She bewitched thy mind and soul, and had a special charge from those damned elves to do so, that they might steal away with thee.
Thou misconstruedest. She followed them in stealth, not in league, and franchised me from jail.
And she had followed in stealth, then why was I her enemy on sight? If her intents had not been alike with mine, then why did she not tell me so, but let her arrows speak?
She said your face already looked resolved.
If looks were ever harbingers of malice, then every man in our unhappy kingdom should be arrested, indicted, and condemned at once and without a trial. Where is your savior?
I do not know. Some dwarves who served the Faerie Queen did intercept us on our flight and capture her.
The better. May all the horrors of this wicked place consume her dead.
I mean to save her.
Heavens, man, wherefore?
She's all I have.
Nice, lad. Spring is but arrived, and yet this forest glows with fall of leaf. The things we see here may be magic tricks, illusions. You and I are simple men inside a house of jugglers and deceit. Nor one nor anything is as it seems. You think her sex doth make her merciful, or gentle, mild, in manner elegant? I tell thee, Alvin, that she murdered me. 'Tis true I hunted first, but where we part, the nymph and I, is that I spared her life and she took mine.
She's all I have.
Do as thou wilt. Farewell, my brother.
She's all I have. She's all I have. Oh, she's all I have.
Enter Garter, Ribbon, and Cecilius in stealth, severally, and seize Alvin.
I thought you said the whoreson is an elf.
In part he is, for elf was half his breeding.
Dog, the other, I'd think. He howls so much.
'Tis certain, then, that it is he.
It is. Our nimble eyes did trace a fugitive, which from our northern border hither flew.
How shall I put my arms around thee, brother, when my hands are bound thus?
What call'st thou me?
Nay, I shall go with thee, but do not touch these elves, for they are guiltless. Set on, set on.
I'll set thy face on a millstone, chaff, and grind it to the very cheekbones.
Enter Harpswift.
Forbear, Cecilius, the elves will mount the head of every fae in the realm if we do barter with a corpse.
Good Master Harpswift, I merely meant to teach.
Thou shalt not lay a finger on him. Dost hear? Now, thou, Garter, and Ribbon, along with me, to bear this token of my fidelity.
The Queen's Palace. Enter Malleus and dwarves with Mara held captive, various fae about.
My worthy captain, the Queen will be here shortly.
How does the nymph?
Quiet, sir, as lakes.
And linked with her, I hope that ye have not.
Had we our beards, I'd swear upon 'em, no.
How now, young maid? Thou wouldst not speak?
No,
Thou sparest thy words?
I do.
Wherefore?
To save them from my prayers, as you commanded me.
Enter Queen, born by train, and Galespring, Curthwin, and clowns. The Queen is born to the throne and sits on it.
My heart doth ache, it swells within my chest, so pestering the ribs its bony guard. To let it leave its garrison, they beat it back to its chamber and bruise it safe again, but give me not companion misery. My doting voice, I do not seek it, nay, let him who stays to show his sympathy do so with bending mouth, not bending knees. Oh, sweetings, your smiles are pure as newborn babes, and almost make me forget my sorrows.
Your Grace, this fade doth have a suit.
Fae comes forth.
Why speak, my dear, these ears of mine have sought respite and may find comfort in smaller things.
My queen, I sleep upon the tallest oak, where daylight touches last, where many times this evening sun hath broke my resting and my fast.
O childlike bud, get thee upstairs and choose a chamber for the night. Draw thou the curtains, and thou shalt not lose another wink to light.
Your generosity is not surpassed. Thank you, mistress.
Sweet dreams, my boy.
Exit Fae.
Now, call I Galespring, minister of labor and faithful counselor of mine, to speak, for he hath news I cannot bear to say. List him.
Thank you, my most gracious queen. Though that I smile for you, my tongue doth burn with poison, and I yearn to take my leave of it. But weary fellows, for weary so you are, and I can tell. Will you give me leave to air my poison? Most hearty, reverend friends, will you hear the news I have to say?
Most worthy Galespring, we will hear the news.
Your honor doth exceed your industry, or sleeplessness hath ta'en your clarity. My news is this: defections in our numbers, even in the highest noble of the Fae. 2 in the Mornmoot Council traitors are, Darestone and Harpswift. The latter, as you heard, was taken by some evil apparition. The truth is, it was no ghost at all, but rather a mighty human sorcerer, who also charmed the magics of our queen, and with whom the traitors pacted to overthrow her rule within our wood. Harpswift has since been jailed in the castle of the human king, with Folkswin too, who was there on business. And Darestone hence has flown, but the deeds are done, and now a preparation makes for us.
These news are strange and foul. They fright me cold.
O cruel stars that make me send my gentlest unto suffering, forgive me, Folkswin, but tell us, honest Galespring, how thou didst come by this news? For thou wast not this eve in council, and we know not where thou hast been.
This gallant warrior told me all, your grace.
So, I think the Fae should know him better, him who saved me from the monster's ugly axe. Step forth, good swordsman. Let us hear thy name.
Why, good your grace, I pray you let him not.
Thy reason?
It would misbecome his knighthood to boast his feat. Let him remain quiet.
Is he dumb? Thou speakst as though dost something hide.
'Tis I, your grace, who hide. I am Curthwin, daughter of the human king, a champion, warrior, defender, and woman born. Noble Galespring told me of your law and bid me put this antic on, wherein I'd hide behind my manly face. His regard for my life I note, but no more of that. I do not need a champion myself. Most beautiful sovereign of the fairy wood, I come before you to affirm the news you heard. You and your people stand in great peril. My father means to issue a power to seize your wood, and for your lives cares not. But though the threat be imminent, there stand before you a blade most able, and a brain that knows the stratagems and tricks of human war. If by the saving of your life I earned your trust, I pray you, do of them make use.
Thy words were heard and may be thought on more. Adherent Galespring, who dost proclaim my law with tireless lungs, didst thou know this human to be a woman?
At first, your beauty, not. But by her voice I did, and hearing the news, her person did I admit into our world.
Against my law, which thou wert wont enforce?
So grave and urgent was the matter that I made exception, thinking pending strife to give you pause and reason to reprieve your sentence till immediate danger's gone, whereupon perchance attrition of the time might smooth your heart and make you mercy show. Humbly do I beg your pardon for it.
My tender knave, thou knowest well our law. How can I trust you didn't make sport with her? When thou didst go beyond beholding, even breaking thy diet obligation.
Methinks she would have killed him, and he had.
Your grace, we gave our master's company when he was absent from this evening's moot. Most honorable Galespring may have broken his pledge to the council, but never to his land.
Alone shall I be arbiter in that. The pair of you his honor warrant then.
We do, your
We
grace.
do, your grace.
The guilt does lie upon all three of you and cries for punishment. But recognizing that your breach was made in good faith and pure thoughts, I hereby quit you of your charges.
We thank you, mistress.
But she of hers cannot absolved be. Brave Curthwin of the human realm, I thank thou heartily for the service thou hast done, but I must act pursuant to my code, which seems of late most lax and frangible. Therefore, be thou condemned and straight to death.
Dwarves seize Curthwin.
My head for hers.
Tent thy nymph.
My life do I lay down that you spare hers.
What's this? Why, Galespring, this is strange. And 'tis the fault in all the petty spirits of the realm. Thou seest a woman and thanks her frail or wanting voice, and then proceeds to offer help when none may be requested. She's not a delicate flower, nor does she need some gentle gardener. Pot her up and place her on a shelf. This woman made a choice, and now with calm doth bear the consequence, but thou at odds with both thy place and sense, defiest in myself and my law, but also Kurtwin's wish, for she hath said that she does not need a champion. If thou be courteous, then do and give over this foolish quest.
If you will not take his, then take mine.
And mine.
This is the excellent danger I foretold of women in our woods, wherein you boys lose all sense and think with other parts.
My beautiful, glorious, rigid fairy queen, your law hath soil, and hitherto hath kept our minds sharp, and our woods in order indeed. But though unnative females stand amongst, yet I've my wits, and clearly do I see a might upon us. It comes in as we speak, dressed with better steel and eager hearts. And I divine, fair lady, that the raptor of your magic will be with them too. I say we may prevail in striving yet, as long as Kurthwin's mouth has not been stopped. I do beseech your grace, reverse your doom.
Galespring.
Good, my sovereign, perhaps esteemed Master Galespring reason hath. Sure you do not prize the woman's death more than you do your people's lives.
And thou, captain, who didst bring me without question? Our other theme of the day, I see thee nymph, and I should like to know thee better anon.
Nay, this is the a maiden he warned us of.
I'd serve you well, fair queen. My sword arm's yours.
Dost vow it?
Truly, O matron of the wood.
Why, here's a bargain rare indeed. I'll have thine arm, and thou mayst keep thy life.
I am glad we've thus accorded.
Fetch the cautery.
Dwarf exits.
My queen?
Your righteousness?
Your voices all do move me unto mercy, which with sense is friends today, but I must need uphold my law, lest it become some old and toothless cur, ever growling but powerless of offenders know it hath no bite. A payment's due, and if it be her arm, then I'll take it.
Re-enter dwarf with cautery. Dwarves restrain Kurthwin and chop off her sword arm, immediately cauterizing the wound.
Well, well, marry now, 'tis settled. Let us proceed to this unhappy business of war. Fetch Therichil and Thorndew here. I sent them out for Master Galespring earlier, but now their mission needless need them back. You two go.
Dreaded queen.
My noble sire.
Exeunt clowns.
Oh, mistress, you were wont to be just, not cruel. If that your law demanded payment, take her life. Look you how she languishes.
Forsooth, your beauty, this is novelty, although your cruelty to woman's not.
Cruel and captain. How many wives didst thou take on when thou hast rule and privilege of a kingdom? How many didst thou imprison, whip, and abuse? Galespring, bond with thy rogues here of the conquest, ye made of pixie maidens who ruled, how you forced them, for gods already thy friends, and thee I pardoned. Thou beggest for Kurtzwin's life, and now she has it. Thou sayest, I'm cruel, and then I call for talk of the human warlike advancement here, which both of you did urge the direst point, implicitly suspending trial of the nymph, but suddenly delay you this to charge. Me cruel?
Alack, the arm that might beat back the men who mean us danger now is lost, and every fold upon her brain that might have answer to their movements, for shame they are all rubbed away in agony. The knowledge that was ready on her tongue, that she'd impart to us, displaced by crying. The war is done, the fairy realm undone.
Enter Harpswift, followed by Garter, Ribbon, and Cecilius, with Alvin captive.
Not yet, good captain.
Oh, heart!
Alvin!
Brethren of the Grove, and most beloved queen, come I with tidings fair.
Oh, proclaim unto us not. The fairy realm does not have ears for traitors.
Galespring, my hearty peer, I saw thee not. Why art so low? And, who's this hapless, fellow?
Yeah, perfidious filth. Thou knowest who she is.
Arrest this villain.
Dwarves move to seize Harpswift. The latter and his followers draw. The dwarves do the same.
I grow most weary, friends, of apprehension. Our hours are few, unless ye list to me. My queen, exuberantly do I tremble to lay my joy-bereft eyes upon you again, but this encounter's ecstasy must I abbreviate and forth directly to my business, which upon your leave will I unfold at present.
Put down your arms, those favoring the captain, and the rest. Should a mother suffer to see her children quarrel when thieves and murderers are at the door? I say, put down your arms, all of you, or else this ever-growing heart shall burst.
They all put down their arms.
But I will breathe again. Would that expirations were not but air, but with a vapor breathe the sadness out. I'd have some smiling too. From able mouths will serve it must, O Harpsworth.
Fair lady.
Thou said you're leaving. Have the sun not set, yet all the hours dark and long have been, and even in anguish do our trees grow old. Now, you are come back, and traitor called. Prithee, heart, stay down, our forest knows not itself truths, our lies and madness rules. Tell me, my Harpsworth, do you know this woman?
No, your grace, nor did I know she is a woman. And why is she here? And living yet?
Her living owes to pleading plentiful and service she hath rendered to the state, wherein a large foreknowledge of the host, here coming from the human realm she gave, she Curthwin is, and daughter of the king. She said she saw you in her father's court, confederating with her kind and with that villainous mage whose weird revealed arts did into general calamity our peaceful forest grow to overthrow the one you once did call your righteous queen. She Darstow named in this conspiracy as well, and noted that the king in fair imprisoned you. With Folkswin too, who heedlessly was there by my own mission. What say you to these?
My queen, my friends, I am your constant servant, and here is my reply. Indeed, I was before the human king, but not in friendship, neither with him nor with that dastard mage, but with a pure and noble heart, your grace. With your very eyes did witness bear to my seizure and my vanishing, for yea, involuntary was my presence there. When they did see that I would not instruct, the castle's jail became my lodging. Folks, when, alas, that poor and most unfortunate soul, he showed great courage, never discovering, pressed as he was, his mind unto the king. And so, defending of our embassy, did forfeit his journey home, and too was sent to jail. A spy of mine who feigned service as a castle guard did free myself, but precious being the time, and matters dire, we could not find our Fae ambassador. Thus did I escape, and with mine eyes about a prematurely colored wood, I found and took this mongrel dog instead to lay before your grace.
Alvin is put before the queen.
Another man?
What is this, Harpsworth?
Our hope for victory. The forces of the king will be here soon, and we are sorely weakened. The man you see is but part a man, the other's elf. Our neighbors to the north do search for him. We'll hold his ransom, and they can pay us aid.
A good design. He speaks not like a traitor.
I do beseech you, Madam Elf, to pardon my transgression. I did not mean you harm. But hark! The nymphs and spirits whisper. Oh, they love you to your face, but mock you when your back is turned. There. Hear them?
Good, your grace, you must excuse the man, for he is wood.
Or had too many spirits.
You villains, let it go!
Be safest here, young girl. I sense a passion in thy woods. I counsel thee take care. The promises of love men make are often thoughtless given, and like a thought do fleet.
My river fleets, even if his has dried.
Your love is in vain, poor sprite. He hears you not. I'm sorry now, most excellent fairy queen. The wisest precepts of my mind do teach, and bid me advise you mute yourself within. And I'll to the elves, we have no more time to waste.
Yet he must stay, your grace grant not his leave.
Each moment is another fallen fae, good Galespring.
My monarch, tell me not you think this traitor's word more credible than noble Curthwin's.
More of this? Relent, dear brother.
You knew that flatterer Darestone to be false. You knew it. And Curthwin's word confirmed it so. She saw our folks when taken too, which Harpswift himself doth acknowledge. You believe her twice, but now you freeze when she impeaches him?
Will serve good Galespring, pray no more, my dear.
You must not pardon him. It means you ill. Awake, madam, awake, and tell her so. Come, awake, proclaim his falseness.
Peace, Galespring.
He lies, but you do favor him as ever.
See our most intemperate counselor removed forthwith.
'Tis error.
He draws Curthwin's sword and charges Harpswift. His servants draw to defend. Galespring gravely wounds Cecilius and is apprehended by dwarves.
Obscene slave!
How foul! We turn our blades unto our own! 'Tis loathsome, Galespring.
Was most a deed most rash. Let's bear him to the surgery.
Garter and ribbon bear Cecilius off.
Thy course is bloody and outrageous. I'll brook no more. I oust thee, Galespring, from this wood forevermore. And by our willow, thine iron princess too. I knew her, woman, since the moment that she cried when she was wounded by the fiend. Take her, turn thy back, and leave at once.
I'll offend no more, and yet I love you still. Farewell, my queen.
Exeunt Galespring and Girthwin with his help. Dwarves follow them.
I am sorry this befell. Good your grace.
Perhaps it owes to slackness that we come undone, yet I'll amend it. Nymph thou next.
Fair queen,
Oh, come, let's finish the present work. Captain, bring her forth and kill her thyself.
You made assurance of my life.
I assured nothing. Suspended I a judgment till a time more meet, and now I deem thy payment due immediately.
my lady, this is madness.
What, Captain?
I will not do this. Nay, I cannot.
Yes, thou canst, and thou willst.
This moment forth, she'll be within my ward.
That thou mayst have her as thy concubine? She'll die, although behold her.
Upon my life, no harm will fall upon this maid this hour.
I lost a councillor and my captain then. Seize this opposite defying dwarf.
No, Fae. I defy thee not, for I am not thy dog, nor thine errand boy. I am Malleus, king and sole chieftain of the dwarves. These are my people, this province mine.
And this is mutiny.
Thou rulest no more.
Quell this revolting malcontent.
My brothers, will you stand with me? Will you cast off the bonds you donned when into servitude unjustly we were pressed? Our honors stripped, our chins balded. Will you excise the rot that's in these palace timbers?
We will, most mighty Malleus.
Then whet your halberds keen, and to the cutting out, begin at the throne, and thence to those whom the disease hath touched.
The Fae disperse themselves. Dwarves take queen from the throne. Harpswift endeavors to flee amid commotion.
Many things I should have killed you all.
And what of him, my lord?
Go, stop his feet.
Harpswift prevented. He and the queen are brought before Malleus.
This is pure treason, Captain. Distilled and fell.
Ah, you know the bitter taste. Himself's his only master. Therefore not to be trusted. Put out them both, and leave them to man's mercy.
The prey is easiest caught that's not in health.
Bring them away, the hag and her slimy toad. Who follows them? To jail.
Exeunt dwarves with queen and Harpswift captive.
This eve we rise, my valiant countrymen, and when the menfolk breach our wood, they'll find our purpose harder than their steel. And may our cries of war, slung through the air, both shrill and deafening, pierce their hearts like bodkin arrowheads.
For Faerie,
Faerie,
our
our
woods,
woods,
and dread King Malleus.
Thy sweetheart tarries, maid.
Do you intend him to make him your commodity?
Oh, faith, would that my pride were but the only thing that makes me refuse their aid. But saying that, we hold him here would show 'twas perjury, when that I told the elves we saw him not. And then they'd come not as allies, but as foes. We must to war alone.
His mind is lost.
Thou hast thy life. If thou be so resolved of his condition, go back to the sea and live.
I tire of receiving counsel I asked not for. Good king, if you would have it so, I'll fight with you. And after the invasion's quashed, I'll make determinations of our lives.
As thou wishest. Come, we'll see thee armed.
The human camp, the king's tent. Enter Alabaster and the general, soldiers about.
This wants reason. Is not the king sick?
Forsooth, 'tis his sickness bids him come afield. Word of some contagion within the castle's walls and rumors of devices for his life do compel him to find safer soil, at least until our quarrels be done.
Enter king.
Your Highness, my men are dressed and ready to make execution of your most noble designs.
Thanks, Lord General. The penury of humankind is on its deathbed and salvation swollen in the womb.
We will deliver it swiftly and not miscarry.
My brother and his enchanters shall bring through the several magic portals what men they can, whilst the rest do follow you in the north. Pioneers at front, woodsmen after. There shall we make clear the field and take their timber. Myself shall go with a party of the kingdom's most able knights on the main path directly to the palace, making forth as it seems safe.
Shall we take prisoners, my lord?
A portion of the forest may remain theirs, and they submit. Offer yielding once, but kill if they would rather quarrel.
Will not your daughter attend you as you go forth? I have not seen her here at camp.
Why fetch her then? I would have her peerless swordsmanship by my side, yet we shall forth with her or no.
Enter a messenger.
What news now?
Your Royal Excellency, the Fae Harpswift has broke from his inclusion and flown.
And the ambassador too?
Nay, my lord.
This is a fault. We should not proceed into the forest.
The meddler! We will forth yet, and presently. My mind is altered. Let any that stands not like a man perish at the sword. They are tricksters at heart, the fairy folk all, and we were fools to have amity with their sort. And thou, brother, the greatest fool, to deal and bargain with them. They will mock us for time everlasting, but our shame can and must needs be vanquished. Lord General, whose hateful maw for fairy blood have I ever reined in? Now my grip do I relinquish, and let you chase your appetite. The army's yours, lay waste. All else, bring home the timber that you can and burn the rest. Slay the slay the ogre if it chances upon you. And last, if you should see that damned and most injurious viper Harpswift, bring him to me alive. My blade's for him.
A remote part of the forest before a small dwelling. Enter Galespring and Kurthwin with his help.
Thou scathed it well. The issue of the wound hath led us here.
Where are we?
I know not. We erred off the nearest path some leagues ago.
I am sorry, Galespring. I could not make her see.
Oh, noble Kurthwin, I am sorry too. My meager words could not soften her wrath. O worthless tongue, I'd cut it from this mouth 100 times to give thee back thine arm.
My brain directs and thinks it yet commands the absent slave, which now is manumitted.
Enter Orc from dwelling, axe drawn.
If thine arms know peace, let them prove.
Orc puts down his axe.
Thou understandest me?
Makes one of us.
And you can speak.
I can when that I must, for lest use tongues like axes sharpest they.
We come in low humility to beg your help. The Queen and all of fairydom do face the vicious throngs of humankind. In combat, you excel. I saw you best, her grace's best dwarves painlessly.
Her grace? You hold a twig and call it blade? Embellish you one foul with false glories.
How mean you? Answer this, and presently.
There's not a mote of grace in that you call your queen. They will not fight for her, or you, or any that doth brook her tyranny.
Orc withdraws into his dwelling.
Aye, creep thou back into thy filthy hovel and never emerge. May shifting earth englut thy rooted bones, and from thy stubborn corpse shoot toadstools.
Prithee, good counsellor, incense him not.
Disdain the queen, deny his help, retire. This is a scurvy cretin, a wretch, a fool, and it knew best to forswear company.
Orc re-enters with medicine and approaches Kurthwin.
What, wilt not thou from my body rend these arms and legs? Have not I offended, so that thou wouldst in this belly sound thine axe, and with mine entrails deck it?
I am not the savage that your queen declares I am. Upon your shoulder dab this liniment.
What is it?
Medicine. A mixture wrought of vervain, underwood, and hyacinth. Twill bait the pain and close the searing up.
How came you by this salve?
I made it, faith.
You are a learned and ingenious orc, which in your kind's a seld-seen quality.
The earth's a schoolmaster, and we its pupils. Each season a lecture, each plant a course of study. We knew the virtue of civility, our songs were but of peace. Each step we trod a salutation to our giving ground. But this civility we did forget when she, your tyrant queen, waged war with us. Our libraries became armories, our medicines poisons, our hatchets battle axes. Year meal decreased the numbers of our clan until but I, my wife and children stood, and they were slain last year last. Autumn did come, excellent, early then, methinks in spite of the fell deed. Methinks the earth is moved to ire, and with the sun contrives disorder.
This is the ugly answer that I sought. You are its last, therefore of generation incapable. And so our summer died, crawling toward its end with the last of you.
'Twould serve a pretty tale. Think not yourself to say the forest summers died with us. No, your queen set forth upon the unclean path uncountably many moons ago. She killed your women and enthralled the rest of you, the fae and dwarves alike, to kiss her souls. She plucked your wings and shore your long beards off the dwarves, off their fat faces, and all of you do smile and whimper, "Oh, thank you, mistress." Out of the wood she drove both elves and man, and with her magics did transform the earth to keep them out. Remember you the trolls and giants? Why, they were too unwholesome for her eye, and two did meet their ends. The end of summers in our wood owes not to the death of my ilk, but to your sacrilegious queen.
The deeds of which you speak, unsightly as they appear to you, were just and necessary means to a healthful end wherein we thrive. Truly, what befell your household and your race, it makes me grievous sad, and I am sorry. But holy is the ruling of the queen, for she is the steward of the fairy wood, and acting in behalf of our own good.
Was her dismembering for her own good?
Why, that you do not understand. Oh, madam.
The scars that streak your back, for your own good did you acquire them?
Pray you, sir, enough of that. Will you help us repel our foes or no?
Did she rip your wings off for your own good?
Oh, monstrous. It hurt me dire. We pleaded her to cease, but she, by her willow, the blood. Oh, how my brothers shrieked. I yet do hear them wail and see them writhe about. Oh, Kurthwin, I am sorry more than thou knowest. The Fae did let her rise. We wasted time, and in neglect of our fair garden did not see the terrible weed begin to grow. Now it chokes out the plot entire. Watch we, dumb-stricken and thoughtless what to do. What is the matter now?
Smoke.
Too late. My father's ardent hate hath set your home ablaze.
It seems to me that other weeds have blown in and scattered about the garden soil. Give me your hand, you mighty warrior. Can you stand?
The pain is gone, but so too is my mightiness.
A mighty warrior hath an able mind that is not prized by his ability alone to deal out blows.
Doth have the king a reason to believe that treasonous?
He hath not one. I am invisible.
I say we try thy visibility. Think'st thou we'd find thy father in these woods?
The conquest of thy realms, a spectacle he would not miss, but where he treads I do not know.
A soldier would.
Let's find one then, and learn his whereabout. Thou must be king and take thy father's place. The troops shall hear thy sovereign fell, their princess gravely maimed, and list to thy commandment to retreat, lest by the orcish axe they do fall.
And should we find the king, he's like to have about himself a sturdy guard of knights. Cunning and craft must be our way to take his life, not straightforward confrontation.
Then think thee fortunate in company of Fae thou art. Deceit runs through our veins. Thou shalt appear before the king in pain. Mangled thou art, in losing of thy limb, and crying for some care chirurgical, and ho, they kill us from the trees. Or say the devils through our swords do slip, or what thou wilt, to make us seem more terrible, and with advantage. Thy wound shall serve as proof, and whilst the king and knights do tend to thee, frantic how next they should proceed, our friend will thus surprise and overwhelm them all.
I will do this.
As will I.
Our wood never did have more faithful champions, but no more words. Let's to our enterprise.
The Queen's Palace. Enter Malleus, Mara, and dwarves, elven guarded.
But by what means have they celerity that they could thus infect the realm entire, sparing encounters with our widespread might?
Portals, my lord, have their invasion sped.
Their pungent scent does waft from every corner of the wood, and we, nose numb, know not where to strike.
Begin we here then.
If they bark at door, I say, let in the mangy dogs and let them and show them hungry wolves.
Human soldiers batter down the door and enter. They fight. Elven hides. Human soldiers suffer great losses and retreat.
Come on, where's your medal now, presumptuous cowards? Come back and fight, else we shall put our halberds in your backs.
Dwarves follow soldiers out. Dwarves cry out in distress, and then are heard no more.
What ho? More whooping if you have success. Good countrymen.
Their silence pretends no good.
Nymph, ready thee.
Enter Alabaster.
Where is the Fairy Queen?
Where are my dwarves?
Where is the Queen?
Thou'lt get no answer here, philosopher, for she's beyond my care and sent somewhere to die. Thou mayst find her in the grave once thou hast paid thy debt of blood for killing my compatriots.
Be thou then with thy compatriots.
They fight. Malleus falls.
Go, nymph, and save thyself. The forest's lost.
Alabaster remotely seizes her by the throat and chokes her.
Your lives I came not for. Alas, yet I must take them. If I a reaper be, I'll do it festinate with due reverence. Such is the greatest mercy I can show.
Alvin picks up a sword and reveals himself.
Release her!
What? Who calls? What, boy? Where is thy captain? Get thee gone.
No, sir. I think I'd rather cut thee dead.
Alabaster throws Mara away. Mara's stunned.
A traitor! Thou dost sympathize with Fae, and therefore shall it please me well to kill thee.
Alvin charges Alabaster. The latter looses a fatal spell upon Alvin, but it has no effect, and Alvin runs his blade through him. Alabaster falls.
Is it possible? Let me look on thee. Young man, how old art thou?
'Twas 10 and 7 autumn ago that I, in infancy, was left at door and took the surname Breach.
Alabaster dies.
But what is that to thee? Villain, thou diest. Mara! Oh, Mara! Dost live? Oh, precious thing, who didst forsake me not. What trouble we have found ourselves this eve. Swear me thy living in my clarity, and I shall hold thee when the day is done. Say thou wilt live, whiles I am briefly sane, and I'll be thine till madness take me back. If thou do not, then I will hold thee yet.
The forest, the queen's path. Enter to tree some dwarves, with queen and Harpswift in their custody. Dwarves tie them to either side of the tree.
I had no use of arm or leg at all, you idiots! What end served doing this?
Hail, Mistress Fae, a queen for all her subjects.
And all subjections for this mistress queen.
Exeunt dwarves.
They are thick bolts of flesh, all of them. Oh, sometimes methinks that their sense lay in the beards. When you shore them off, they dull became. Think you it so? Now discourteous were they to put their tongues into your wound and speak thus. 'Twas excellent rude, and you were right, as you have ever been, sweet queen, to curse them to the utmost of your mouth. For want of limbs to smite them down. Tell I the truth or wind a fable?
You tell the truth.
I tell you things you need to hear, your grace, not in the fetid breath of flattery, the fashion of our age, but in plain and open honesty, that you, with light and wisdom to maintain our state. Oh, these villains pulled these knots so tight that you thought they were squeezing air from stone.
Do you love me?
My queen? Most noble monarch, pray your pardon. What?
Dost thou love me, Harpsworth?
More than this tongue can say. I love thee as I love the wood in which I dwell, for you and are one and the same. I love thy moss, thy mounds, thy bushes, streams, thy tendrils which do cradle me to sleep. Beauty itself doth dream that it were thou. Beauty of body, yea, but mind as well. I want the very image of the face prosperity, the best that we can be. If I do love my land and countrymen, then thee, the summit, must I love the most.
I thought you said you do not flatter me.
No, my lady, never think that. I speak these many things in flattery. That it seems I gild you with my words. I say them only in the suit of truth.
You made endeavor to escape the palace.
Aye, that I did. That I may get us aid to oust the traitors who insert within, and to repel the enemies without.
Your thoughts were of yourself. You did not have the welfare of the satyr of myself and conscience.
Pardon your grace. You do not see.
Your speech must end now, Harpsworth. I'll no more. My fortress is besieged and soon to fall. The banner of it shall turn to breach, and the beaten center beating yet shall bleed, as though to drown in one diluvian sally the woes which dust to heave upon its walls. Great hurt upon me, Harpsworth, you have done, but killed me not, and now the warlike trumpets fill the air with general reveille, walking the too long slumbered warriors within these arms and legs.
She breaks free of their bonds. Harpswift, freed too, endeavors to flee, but is held by the magic of the queen.
Leavest thou so soon? Thou knowst I cannot let thee do, O darling boy. Oh, how pretty thou writh about when thou art bound. What shall I do with thee?
She gags him.
Thou likest me better quiet, one last thing.
She binds him back upon the tree.
The siege worn out, they soon will die alone, or in the hungry company of wolves.
She kisses him, then exits. Enter the king and his knights.
What's he that says 'tis not a giving wood, when the trees themselves present so freely tribute, as if prescient of their subjugation, to kneel before us and do early homage? Slippery Harpswift, by thine own home betrayed, speechless and bound, meddle in men's affairs thou shalt no more. Make sure there's no deceit. Go to the adder and give it a little hurt.
A knight goes to the tree and gives Harpswift a small wound.
It bleeds, my lord, and surely cannot budge.
And thou wert human, I would take thee from this trunk, and give thyself a blade, that here on even ground thou mayest contest with me. But as thou art a fay most treacherous, such right thou want'st, and there thou perish'st.
Stabs Harpswift. Enter Curthwin.
My father, help!
What, daughter Curthwin?
Help, you military men! Mine arm is lost, and so too is the day.
Oh, martial child, what hellish creature hacked thy body thus?
These fey, my lord, dissimulate themselves and laugh at us in foreign tongues, mocking our every step as they slip through thickets and cut us behind our shins. My men and I were taken by ambush. We cannot fight these enemies.
Spare speech and lie, that we may dress thy wound.
Knights tend to her.
Oh, father, pardon me.
For what?
That I did undertake this business privately to make my own success without command. Would only that I pleased my king and land.
Why thou hast done. Mankind forevermore shall sing about thy valor in this war.
Have I offended much the crown?
Thy father. Thou speakest to thy father, not the crown. And no, dear Thwin, offense thou hast not done.
There is no pain, but faint my eyesight grows.
Let quiet be thy tongue. Thou needest not speak. Some water! Give her some drink.
Beseech you, drink.
Thy father'd have thee drink.
I am sorry, father.
Never be so. Drink, thou must. I'll have... No. Wake her. Curthwin, awake. Thou art my best, my faithful champion, my pious child. Awake, I say, awake. Would that this room were mortal, so that I may in sleep join thee. Stand not in awe. Revive her.
Enter Orc in stealth. He kills 2 knights swiftly.
We fall that defend the princess and the king.
Suppress this fiend.
Orc and knights fight. King holds Curthwin.
Father, how fares the field?
Sweet bud, thou livest.
Orc, greatly wounded, combats with a single remaining knight.
I plead of you, my lord, if you have sense, curtail our losses and withdraw from hence.
Orc slays the final knight.
Most loathsome thing, go feed thyself to worms.
King puts his blade through the orc, who falls. Curthwin picks up a sword and makes an attempt at the king, but fails.
Breakest thou my faith? Hath the corruption spread unto your mind? By what unseemly means thou lost thine arm I do not know, nor whether 'twas some indecent voluntary rite wherein thou didst contaminate thy form to live with these profane worshippers of dirt and trees. But whatsoever be the truth, thou art no daughter of mine.
He attempts to strike her, but Galespring, who has entered in stealth, cuts his leg from behind. The king falls. Curthwin pushes him onto Galespring's blade.
Death, those eyes of yours are fully oped. I never was your daughter, nor what you hoped.
The king dies.
Perhaps our wood is indeed sick and cursed, when kin is foe, and kill we our parents worst.
Here's one that breatheth yet.
A few breaths left.
Not yet, good fellow. Surely you have a cure, some lotion, know a herb or root.
I am hurt too much. The wood needs gardeners. Weed out the rest and bring in better plants. Here is my spade.
Gives Curthwin his axe and dies.
Sleep now, thou ancient one. What a terrible wash of blood have we. Even the trees do murmur this sad day.
'Tis not the trees which murmurs.
Seest aught? This restless sun, if it avoid sleep, perform some work and blind these eyes, for they on tragedy do surfeit.
Removes gag from Harpswift's mouth.
If you would speak, do it whilst you can.
Ungentle with me, even in my death.
Where is the queen?
She is everywhere.
Speak plain, Harpswift. Hath she her power or no?
That hammer-swinging dwarf's the one in power. He matted her and cast us to the broils when he rose. And then that bloody heap, which for some moments ago was voice of all mankind, did spill this noble blood.
These bonds are not the work of dwarves. Who put you here?
'Twas she.
Her magics are restored, and she's no longer bound by enchantments then.
Alas, good uncle.
Where did she go? Take not yet your peace.
Why care you? The human force is broken up. Their fraction will take their hearts and turn them out. And the Fairy Queen shall rule the wood again. Your battle's won.
I plead of you, old friend. I fear she'll do that she'll be sorry for. Her mind is led by pain and vengefulness, and we by it must not be dirigible.
My plot was sound. Good my intent, but I incapable. Thou seest now her way. Back to the palace goes she, methinks, the sitting monarch, Malleus, to content.
Dies.
Thy meaning shall survive thy means. But go now, kindred of our wood, return thou home, and let thy corporate waters soak this earth to wash away its faults and roots anew. We should not tarry here. More troops will come.
Art well?
I well?
I ask thee, art thou well?
Why, very well.
Thou mayest with me speak truth.
The truth is wait, and we must wait no more. Be on thy guard, for here another comes.
Enter Nathier, disguised as a human soldier.
Ho, man, take heed. The king is slain, and I, his daughter, princess of your kingdom, maimed. And you would live, get you out of these woods.
Health to you, princess, and for your loss, my sorrow.
Removing disguise.
Hail, Councillor Galespring, do you know my face?
I know it is a fairy character, but I do recognize it not.
Then I my work do well. Nathier's my name, my work to broaden the senses of my master Harpswift.
You do not have a master. Look you there.
Oh, 'tis fit the trees should bear him to the grave, for it was they and only they which saw the quiet service he all days performed. He loved you, Galespring, all his countrymen, more than you could know, and kept us safe. Be with our Willow now, you noble heart.
Well, come now, sir. Who hither hide yourself? Have you some news for us from the field or else?
Direct and honest Galespring, if that your heart of ice be not melted by one councillor's death, let it thaw now. Ambassador Folkswin's passed.
Oh, your tidings are unkind and touch me near. Oh, Folkswin, is fortune yet so cruel to take our keenest fay and now our kindest one? He was firm when it was for our outward best, yet soft when it was meeter to be soft. Oh, unkind Nathier, I am moved withal, and yet I would hear more. Go you with us unto the palace, I pray you, and help deliver these news of the day, for they are of gravity too much for broken hearts to bear alone.
The Queen's palace. Malleus fallen. Alvin holding Mara. Enter Queen.
The dwarfs were near reputed to be neat. Is this the famous mage that stopped my power? If thou be he, speak so. Nothing? Well, lie then. Stand, dwarf. Come out of the rubble, be not hid. Was my imperial throne destroyed in scumdish? It worries not, for I shall build another. Especially for thee. I'll use these broken timbers. Nay, watch. Oh, thou must watch me build it.
Arranges pieces of wood into a throne, fashioning a large stake out of one and placing it on the backrest.
It is a gift for mighty Malleus, sole imperator of the Faerie realm, prince of the wood, and faithful chief to all. Behold a throne for the almighty king.
She puts Malleus onto the throne, who is gored on its stake.
I forgot a crown. Here, my lord.
She summons thorny vines about her, which she cuts and plies into a crown.
Oh, stay awake, 'tis thy coronation. Thou must needs be awake to be crowned king. Now, speak, and please thy grace address thy people. Let hear thee speak, give them a grand oration.
Malleus dies.
A fairer discourse from a new crowned king was never uttered. Long may he reign. Thus do I ever mine own self destroy, when on my greatest friends do I impose the greatest punishment. I am a patient, attended by wise physicians, having the means to find the way to help again who throws away her remedies and recks not counsel. I, the mad farmer, poisoned my crops and slaughtered both the livestock and the litters, and wondered why the steed did fall to ruin. Winters behind and summers out of sight, never to warm my self-corrupted fields. Again, which will instead be sneered at always by the grim and unrelenting sun, who seems to know my faults and spitefully illuminates them for the jury to see. This was a fearsome wizard, and in his death would I rejoice, but more of his profession. Creeping about my wood have I late seen. I cannot win this fight, nor fixed mine sway, but peradventure private victory have. Come hither, girl, my business is with you.
Dread madam.
Hey, girl, the queen addresses thee.
Stand back, whatever you are, else I shall draw.
Say no valor here, my mind's not disposed, no quarreling, O dear in hallowed wood, hast thou begotten manhood's frailest twigs, that ever they must be proved, young nymph who has trod unlawfully into my domain. Thy due desert is death. Yet have myself, seeing my certain end, reason to grant thee full and immediate pardon.
I never meant to injure your grace.
Enter Galespring, Curthwin, Nathier, with various fae.
Your regal beauty.
O timely coming.
Galespring.
Please you, my lady, for my sake, from yonder sprite be farther off.
Be farther off, for thy sake, knave, who dost thou think thou art?
Your counselor, and as one such I counsel you, be wise, and be not near the lass.
Good friend, lo where the captain sits. We are too late.
My heart is full. Your grace, is this your work?
Thy heart knows full as fishes know the clouds.
She means no harm. Even now, mere moments ere your party came, she did most amiably her hand give me, did pronounce full pardon for my crime.
She's ill of mind. There gourd doth Malleus sit, tapped like a maple, of all his sap bereft.
The queen did once extend thee a pardon, only to put thee on the gallows again a few breaths later.
'Tis true, her mind changed swift.
It's enough you do examine here my rule, but I do would impeach my very mind. I'll none of it. The children have not a grasp upon the weariness of bearing a crown, how its weight will crush and wrinkle up the heart.
brain sound or addled, heart crushed or whole, intent malicious or pure, we need our fairy queen. Your precious few friends assemble about you now, and mighty enemies concenter toward the palace straight to burn us all to cinders. The power to save the wood is yours alone.
The only enemies that I perceive are here before me, slanderers, trespassers, and traitors. I have no friend in this assembly. My allies stand elsewhere without these walls.
We are all that's left. Your grace, the trees in which we dwell are ash. Our bulky dwarf defenders are all fallen or fly in fear. The councillors Tarrychill and Thorndew by report captured and hanged, as well as my servants, whom you bade pursue. But there is another whom you sent to die.
Your heartful highness, I have served the state in spying on the humans. Nathier am I, and to augment the sadness of the day, 'twould seem I am come, but I mean only to tell you truthfully that Master Falkswind's dead.
It cannot be.
It is, forsooth, enclosed and by himself with no apparent sign of rescue, perhaps dismayed in the extreme by my Lord Harpswift's betrayal and forsaking. He hoisted himself aloft and stopped his breath. My sympathies to you are boundless, madam.
Oh, peace upon this center quiet heart. Preference took his life, though Harpsworth freed and folks and condemnest thou bearing the keys. Didst choose the adder over the dove?
Not so, my queen. He merely did the bidding of his master. Punish him not.
I see that both of you do serve the snake. All of you do. You all do kiss my feet, attend my ceremonies, gild my name with praises, shower me and do to the skies cry out, long live our beauteous fairy queen. But in your lovely words, there's not but breath, affection only, name without the deeds. Herein you serve the councillors false of mine, that wanton Harpsworth. Where is he now without? Wriggle thou into view, thou squirmy worm. Thou hadst thy chest, now breach my palace doors one final time with fire and sorcery, and show a blessed willow such disgrace as never her tender roots below did feel.
He too is dead, my queen.
Oh, quite long dead.
No, slain.
His corpse is bound unto a tree.
What? How?
It would appear that fastened thus, by magics worked by you, his person hung defenseless and took the steel of the human king.
No, 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 no! A lie! A lie!
It is the truth.
Thou slave, thou vexing him!
She holds Galespring with magic.
Mistress!
Thou drivest me past the bounds of my heart's content!
She looses a harmful spell on him. Kurthwin blocks it with the enchanted axe. The queen falls.
Oh, I'm frail, my darlings. Smile for me. Oh. No, it goes the same.
She dies.
Death's icy hand that way us all come touch. Never had we a day we lost so much.
Hope is gone. The palace is our tomb.
Mourning becomes us, had we but the time. Mourn we cannot, no mourning will not see.
Good Galespring, must we beg for clemency? The human forces draw on us apace.
brave Curthwin's mouth may pacify their arms.
How met he his end?
The old man, fighting for his countrymen, sought our lives, and I, preserving hers, ran my blade through him.
I did love him better than I did love my father. And in that love I chide you villain, or knock your head about. But even as it is, I you forgive.
Mara, my sometime lover, thou tookest from me the only kin I had.
Oh, Alvin, if in me I had puissance, thy brother's body to reanimate, oh, by the boundless ocean, I am sorry.
Nay, no more of that. 'Tis I who am sorry am. My anger, tempest-like, did stir my thoughts, and almost swallowed up our love. Oh, Mara, my heart is thine, if thou desirest it yet.
Our queens checkmated, the crescent footsteps here. Let's hope as they have arms, they too have ears.
The elvish realm demands an audience with them who represent Forest Fae.
The elves? Then truly hath the day gone mad.
Enter elfish soldiers, lords, and athemphretes with various rescued fae and dwarves.
Our Parliament Supreme hath sent to stand for them athemphretes. Endowed with power absolute, they act in their behalf. Hear them now.
Our southern cousins, your strife is ended. The elven might hath quieted your enemies, and with our ice did douse some 100 trees, which burned with the twilight sun. Your wood is saved. What's he that speaks for you?
Hail to you, elves. I Galespring am, once councillor to the late queen, who lieth here deceased.
And we are very sorry for it. The cause?
As we to her unfolded tragedy, the too high tensioned strings of life within her at last gave out, and so did end her song.
Killed by bad news. Bring in the villain.
Enter human general, captive.
This trash breeds hate, and set your home afire. Do with him what you will, 'tis beyond our care.
Lord General, thou wast wont protect mankind, not look for trouble.
Curthwin, consorting with Fae, thou art a traitor and most displeasing child. The king will have thy head.
The king is dead, and so is his brother. I thy master am, and shall thy censure handle. Stop his mouth.
And now, some business appertaining us. Your wood a fugitive of ours doth harbor, an impure man-elf, 10 and 7 years too old, whom we allowed to live a youth with man, till at the urge of nature feel. He fled our city by report with help from some aquatic sprite, who last was seen held captive by your dwarves. Where are the two? We will abide no lies.
I see them there.
I pray you, potentates, give o'er your hunt. He chose not life, nor his engenderment.
Our law demandeth death, but yielding to his bearer's last petition, we took their life and gave him his. We have great kindness shown. Arrest the man.
I pray you, gentle elves, a word. What shall become of this poor wretch?
He will enjoy his own sole company in jail until our parliament decide his fate.
If you be deaf to pleas of love, then peradventure I can sway with reason. This Alvin here, this fight hath valor shown, helpfully slain the sorcerer, my uncle, a feat that likes me not, but I admire. and sparing the fairy realm from greater ruin. Our sorts did never friends esteem each other. Suppose that he's our union's genesis. Give him an embassy, and I'll confer it.
Your Grace, your predecessor father showed exceeding impropriety in worldly conduct, and we did think it best to avoid intercourse with you. But now, him gone, perhaps we can plant the seeds of amity. Alvin, fellow, thy name is human made, but henceforth we shall call thee Alfwine, friend of the elves, and thou ambassador of mankind's will shalt be.
I graciously accept.
And thee, nymph, we permit but once a 12-month visitation of thy love.
Prisoner with a better title then.
This is a gift, my dear. Now, if you now please let us embrace the while.
Oh, my heart is. Oh, heart of my seas.
By the willow, the sun is set,
and full's the moon.
On such a night the fairy folk were wont make merry, but leaden sorrow stays our feet. The queen and half our kind returned to earth. The sad remainder should themselves disperse.
Let it not be so. For every Fae that lost his life today, there lived 2 more on human ground, whose blood with man's is mixed, who through existence's unhappy trudge, and yearn to leave behind their common ways, to wander through the woods and play in streams.
It was our prior fault to shut them out. May they come in and find their happiness.
Will Galespring lead? Will Galespring be our king?
none wiser, hardier, or more bereft.
I am your king, your servant, what you will.
All hail Galespring the bereft, our fairy king. All hail.
As we the sovereign Curthwin recognize, the elves good Galespring's kinghood ratify.
Your eminence, some valor hither brought, who made an attempt to enter elvish land.
Let us inspect the rogue.
Enter Darestone, captive.
Oh, horrid sight!
Bring this offensive thing to me that I may look upon it. One time I recognized these cheeks as those of my old friend and fellow statesman Darestone, but all I see is treason's mangled face in bloody smiling, carved eternally. Oh, firebrand cousin, ever the forge of lies and mischief hot, thy careless kindling nearly burned to the roots our forest. Look thou here, incendiary knave, this deathly room, and relish thy work. This poison carry hence, as we a proper sentence contemplate. Meantime, let us our fallen kinsmen join in soil with Lady Willow and pour our hearts. Then may we revel in this gossamer. The autumn air hath lost its chilling bite. The breeze yawns warmly through the quiet night. Our tender wood, remembering what it lost, hath summer briefly brought before the frost. And let us not, as we lay them to rest, condemn them for their worst, but sing their best. Here ends the sad tale of the Fairy Queen, whereon we look ahead to next year's green.